Now when you set up for top grinding, you want to use your stop finger so that way you index your teeth properly and get a consistent grind. So you'll have your stop finger in there, put your saw blade on there, and the tooth that you match your stop finger up to, that is the tooth you sharpen, and that's pretty important, so that way you get a consistent grind. Because if your teeth aren't indexed exactly the same and your stop finger was positioned over here and you're sharpening over here, you're going to get an inconsistent grind. So here again, you're going to want to put your saw blade on there, line it up in the arbor hole, tighten that down, and you want just a little bit of a drag here again. You want to loosen up and set your stop finger in the center of your carbide tooth. And you want to hear it click a little bit so that way you get a nice indexing. You don't want it too hard where it's almost impossible to turn the thing. So here again, we mark the tooth that we're going to start with. I always take an angle finder, you know, like so, to see what angle is on that tooth. So I'll bring it down like this. You don't want it to sit on top of your carbide because that's going to, you know, tip it because you have a little bit of side clearance. So you want it just right in front to match up that angle. And this one is showing a 10-degree alternate bevel. So that's what we're going to sharpen that up on. This one is a combination blade, like I said. It's not an alternate bevel tooth, so you do have that flat raker. So I'll leave my motor at 0 to line up, you know, my proper relief angle when I line that up. So the tooth that you are sharpening is the one that you have your stop finger to. So to line up that tooth, because right now you can't really move anything, I loosen my stud cone a quarter turn, because now you can move that stop finger around to line up that tooth to your grinding wheel. When you're top grinding, you want the diamond section pointing away from the motor, and I'll loosen up my slide and my front stop, and I'll just swing this blade in. You can see how it rotates with the slide and your stop finger rod being able to turn. So I'll just bring this in, and you can see right now that, you know, you rock it forward. Your relief angle, your tooth should always be positioned above the center point of your arbor. If it was back here, you wouldn't have any relief angle at all, and when your blade is cutting, you'd hit the top side of that carbide. So your blade should always set up where it's in front of that center arbor hole. So I'll just bring this in here. First thing I'm going to do is lock down my diameter adjusting slide, because then I can still move this, and I can always move my motor in and out if I got to do any fine tuning after I get that locked down. Bring that over a little bit. Once you get that lined up, then I'm going to bring it, I'm going to grab my stop finger rod and just lock my center cone, so that way everything is locked down now, and you can see everything is solid. My slide ain't locked. My slide ain't tight enough, but that's alright. I can just bring it up to that grinding wheel, and I can just lock that down a little bit tighter. And then I'm going to felt pen my flat tooth here, just to make sure I got the right relief angle. If I got the correct relief angle on this tooth, every tooth after that is going to be exactly the same, and I can just tip my motor up and down to sharpen those. So here I'm just going to bring my motor in, so I lightly touch it. I'm going to turn my motor on and then off and just give it a little grind. And I'm going to look down and see where I'm sharpening. And I can see I'm hitting the tooth from the very tip to the back side. Now if I wasn't hitting exactly everywhere, if I was hitting only more towards this top and I got to grind a little bit more off of that, instead of resetting up everything, I would just loosen my cone, and I'll just kind of show you how I would do that. Loosen my cone a quarter turn, and then I would just swing my saw blade this way, and bring my grinding wheel in more, so that way I would reline up. If it was the opposite way and I needed to sharpen more towards the tip and I was already hitting the backside, I would bring this motor back a little bit, turn this in to reline that up, instead of resetting up, I just used my motor and loosened my cone a little bit. But I was lined up correctly, so I'll just bring that back to where I was. Relock that down. And I'm going to just do a nice light test, make sure I'm lined up properly. I'm not. Lighten this up a little bit. Okay, now that I'm set up properly, you're going to want to set your front stop again to where your carbide is going to go through the diamond section, but you won't hit that next tooth. So that way you get consistent wheel wear again. And now we're set up for top grinding. So this is the raker tooth, so that's got to be 12 to 15 thousandths lower. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check with my roundness gauge the heights of these teeth. So I'm going to set to an alternate bevel tooth, I'm going to set it somewhere around the 25 to 30 thousandths range, just somewhere around there. And I want to see which heights on the alternate bevel are taller, because if they are taller, I'm going to grind the shorter ones first, so that way I can give a heavier top grind on the ones that are taller to balance out that blade. So if I index through here, you can see I got 28, 27, 28, 27. Now I'm going to get to the raker tooth, it should drop down that 12 to 15 thousandths, which it drops down 10. I got 28. 28, 28, 28. So this blade is showing me that it's pretty much in balance right now. So it doesn't matter if your motor is up at 10 degrees or down at 10 degrees to sharpen it up. So I'm going to just probably start out with my motor in the down position. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to bring my motor down to 10 degrees. And you will have to move your blade in and out when you go into those. You might have to adjust your front stop. Check my angle here. And I'm just going to do a nice light grind. There, I got it matched up nicely. So I'm going to go around and do every other tooth, but then I got that raker, so I'm going to have to go 2 indexes, then 3 indexes as I sharpen it. So you want to bring this in here and just bring your motor in so you get a nice light grind here. And I'll do, depending on if the tips are rounded over a lot or not, I usually do about 3 to 4 grinding passes. If it's rounded over, I might do 5 or 6 and give it a little bit heavier of a grind. But in this application, I will probably just do 3 to 4 because it's in really nice condition. So I'll just turn my motor on. Now I got those teeth all sharpened up. Now I don't change any of your setup at all as far as your saw blade setup. Now you just want to bring your motor up to the positive 10 degrees. And I'm going to mark this, just make sure I got the angle correct on there. Let's see that I'm a little bit high. Bring this in. Bring my wheel back to my carbide tooth. Move my front stop if I need to do any adjustments. That's the only adjustment you'll need to do is motor in and out or in your front stop. And just give it a nice light test grind again. See, I need to bring it up just a fuzz. Like so. And I can see I'm lined up correctly now there. And I'm just going to bring it in, get a nice little scratch against that. And I'm going to sharpen up every other tooth and every third tooth, you know, with that raker being in there. Now I have those all sharpened up. I'm just going to check on my roundness gauge, make sure that I have it nice and balanced. Set it around that same 25, 30 thousandths range. I have 28, 28, and 21. So 28, 28. So I can tell I got my alternate bevels. And I'll just kind of go around here, check a couple little areas. I got 28 consistently on those, but now my raker tooth, because I did bring some down, is at 20 thousandths. So it's right now it's only set to about 8 thousandths difference where I need 12 to 15. So I'm going to have to, you know, grind that down to get that proper. So a lot of times if you can leave your roundness gauge set how it is, I take a lot of times and just take a piece of thin wire and wrap it across the face and around my roundness gauge to keep it out of the way so I'm not keep scratching it, you know, when you're going around. So now we'll leave everything set up and now we're going to do the flat raker. So we'll bring our motor, put our lock pin in at 0. Go over to our first tooth here. Back my motor up. Adjust my front stop just a fuzz. We already know that our relief angle is good, so I'm just going to bring it in, get a nice, you know, scratching on it, and I'm going to do about 3 swipes on that one. Now that I got those sharpened up, I'm just going to bring it around and check those, and right now I can see that I have 18 thousandths, so I'm about 10 thousandths. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to just do a nice couple more swipes on those to bring that down to that 12 range. Move my motor in just a little bit more because I already removed some. Check this again. Now I'm reading 26 thousandths, so I got 12 thousandths lowered, so this blade should be perfectly in balance and should cut perfectly. And then I'll set up and I'll show you how to do the triple chip blade.